Something that I'm very happy about. There is something that I really do like on this. This is something that I'm very happy I made a purchase for. Last year I made a video to show all of my must-have bike commuter accessories on my Bianchi bike, and y'all really responded. It was one of my most liked videos. I was actually really hesitant to make that video in the first place. I wasn't sure if I had much to contribute in the biking sphere, but because of all the likes, it made me realize that people want to see this content. Also, if you do like this video, please like it, comment. It gives me an indication of what the community is responding to. And I did read through all of the comments. It was really helpful and did end up adding a couple of needed things onto my bike. I'm heading to the park for a little lunch date picnic with my friends, so we'll dig into it while we're there. So we're in my garage and we're about to take the bike out, and I already have a couple things I want to show you. Bike cover to keep my bike protected. I would suggest not cheaping out on a bike cover. A super cheap one at the beginning. It ended up being so thin and brittle and it broke very quickly. So I invested in this. It's not that expensive, it's like 20 bucks. By the way, all of the products that I'm going to talk about are linked in the description down below. Also, a lot of them have dedicated reviews as well as discount codes, so you can save a bit of money. That helps to protect against the dust, especially when I'm storing it long term, like in the winter. Although dust always manages to get up a little bit in my case, but it does reduce significantly the amount of. Always have my 1000 Heritage 2 bike helmet attached to my bike with a kryptonite U-lock. Came with the cable. I also leave my bike gloves attached. I love this bike helmet. I had their first version and then I got their second version. I also have their biking gloves, which I really love. They're padded, they're comfortable. It means that it's softer in your hands for the ride, but it also means that if you fall, that you're protected. And so having these on my bike always ensures that I'm gonna have it ready to go and get to my bike and not have to fiddle around. Also, it ensures that I'll always wear my helmet. And in the winter when I store it long term, came with a protective case for it. So I just envelop it so it's more protected in the winter. And when I'm out biking, I really just need like I just need this U-lock. It's pretty small, but it does the trick. I'm able to lock it against the pole or any bike rack. It's plenty enough. And because this bike helmet has a feature that I really love, this U-lock pop holder, and I attach it to my bike when I'm at home and then when I'm out, and I don't have to carry it around with me, and it always makes sure that I have it. Something else that I really love with this helmet is it's magnetic, very easy to pop on and off. Really just love this bike helmet with these small but really necessary features that a bike helmet should have. I also have a neck fan because it is 35 degrees Celsius today and it is hot. So I will link this as well in the description. I have this Oops Mark leather U-lock holder. It's elegant, it's sleek, it's out of the way on the rear rack. When I didn't have a rear rack, I had it attached to my bike seat on the back. I've had some comments about my handlebar, and you know, it's not the most optimized. I get it. I had it on the proper way before, and just maybe my anatomy, the reach, it just didn't fit well. Maybe not even the right way. I'm supposed to be using the brakes, but they're the most comfortable in terms of where I can rest my hands and brake hands on the handlebar, which is the way I usually do it, or when it's down here. All right.
Oh wow, that's perfect.
Right? Because there's this elastic so it can really hold it down.
Oh, that's decent. Okay.
This is why I got this, because of takeout.
Good.
Like actually, not only because of takeout, but takeout in boxes?
That's amazing.
Excellent. Thank you. Little spot right here, right by the water. Parked our bikes right there. And the food stayed on no problem, didn't even budge. These are my rock straps. I love these. I even use them to make bags without luggage pass through work to stay on my carry-on and move it around. I brought this, super portable. It's so easy to carry that you could just leave in your bag. It has little spikes so that it could stay in the ground even better. Yeah. Whoa. Look at that. We only needed one for 2 people, to be honest. Oh my God, it's right next to us. Does it want our food? Oh my God, I think it wants our food. I'm so surprised. It feels so safe to be right next to us. Also, I brought this water bottle with me, my Lark PureVis V1. It's my favorite water bottle. It's not even their more advanced or newer one because it has micro USB, unfortunately, but I love it. I like the size, I like the color, I like the format, and I have their pitcher, so I always refill it with filtered water anyway. And then there's the UV light on here, so it keeps it germ-free. And I've gone many months between just washing the mouthpiece, and the water tastes fantastic. And then when the battery would run out, because I wasn't paying attention, like pretty much a week later, it would get pretty gross and smelly. So I know the UV light works for sure. I'll link this as well in the description. Have a full review of that. Porchetta. So let's start with the front of the bike all the way to the back. So we're gonna start with handlebars. A minimalist loop mount, twist, phone mount. I like this. I know that there are better phone mounts out there, like I think quad lock, but for my purposes, because I don't actually use the phone mount as often, this is perfect. So it's there when I need it and it's invisible when I don't need it, which is most of the time. And then I have my Bike XPEL, which is excellent to let people know I'm passing them. A lot of people get offended, but I prefer to be safe than sorry. Sometimes people just like will cross in front of you on a bike path or decide to turn sharp left when, you know, they didn't signal. On the bike handle, I have my Brooks bar tape, and I did a very good job actually with the bar tape applying this myself. And I think it just looks super stylish. When I bought this bike originally, it did have this really old bar tape that needed to be replaced, and it was very thin. And this has padding on top of it with the padding in my gloves. It's just very comfortable to ride. New light, one of the new gears, it's Raveman K1800. I have a link and discount code in the description. This light is super, super, super bright. K1800 because it goes up to 1800 lumens. A lot of the times, bike paths, the lights will be broken. It's really hard to see on the street, and visibility is so important to be able to see and be seen. It comes with a little mount, but they also have a permanent mount if you want something that sticks better, but I haven't had any issues. And this, you can have it installed on the bottom like I do, like on an undersling mode or on top. I don't find that the angle moves around too much. It's pretty stable. It does come with a remote, but I opt not to use it just to minimize the amount of things that I have to manage. And it's not necessary to use the device. However, there is one button on here that is useful, and it is the turbo quick mode. So no matter what other setting you are on for your front light, if you press that button, it'll switch to high power 1800 lumens. Used to cheap out for bike lights. Those lights don't provide any actual visibility on the road. And I started to get more and more powerful lights. This is my most powerful light. The one I had before was really, really bright, but it fell and it wasn't well weatherproofed and sealed. And then the battery popped off. This is like a torch. A lot of battery life. You can also use this to charge your devices. So it's like an extra power bank and USB-C. It has a diffuser as well and wide angle, so you get to see a lot on your road, see a little bit of light on the sides to also be seen at night, which I think is super important, especially if you're sharing the road with cars. By the way, if you've ever thought about starting your own YouTube channel, making product videos like I do, I am opening a small mentorship program. The information's in the description and is also on my channel bio links. Help you prioritize and improve your videos 1% at a time and focus on what is important without burning out, so that you can enjoy making these videos and maybe even monetize your passion a little bit, but mainly to just share your passion with the world. You'll notice I also have fenders at the front and back, which took me way too long to get installed on my bike, and this really helps for obviously when you're biking in rainy conditions. You don't get a bunch of splashing and mud everywhere on your back. And I also noticed that my logo here has been all scratched up, so I don't know if somebody knocked my bike recently, or it might have been me if I wasn't paying attention, so that's a bit upsetting. I actually have on the top here a PPF film, a protective layer that they use for car protection. People do knock your bike, and I'm very glad I do, because I'm already seeing scuffs on this, so I might have to replace this really soon. But I did get customized paint touch-up, and I have a video on that I can link as well on like finding and customizing my paint. I reinstalled the water bottle holder that came with my bike. Emergency kit. This is something that a lot of you talked about that I should have, and I listened. It has a kit for repairing any flats, patch up the inside with everything I need, a sticker, glue, a little scuffer so that it adheres really well. It also came with an air pump that has a gauge. Works really well, surprisingly, but to a certain maximum. I could only get to about 70 PSI, and my tire it goes from 72 to 100 PSI. Pretty perfect for my needs in an emergency. Like, this is not my main pump to leave permanently in here, although I would have preferred a more sleek water bottle. It's not like you're fooling anybody. I have no regrets with this. The other item that's actually here is something that I'm very happy about. It's from Raveman, as the same company as my bike. If you have an iPhone, bike GPS, it goes underneath, and it's no subscription model because you're using the Find My app, which is free, and it uses the network of iPhones essentially to be able to find your device if ever it gets lost. So that's extra security and precaution that I like. And I like that it's really pretty inconspicuous. It has very long battery life. I think you would need to charge it once to twice a year. In my case, because I don't bike in the winter, I would only need to charge it once a year, really, if I'm just trying to monitor it in the summer. There is this Raveman tail light. You wouldn't have to go for something this intense for a tail light, but it has some extra features that are quite useful and some that I don't think are that useful with different patterns and intensity. It has an attachment that you can stick on the seat post, but they also have an attachment that you can stick on a rear rack. My rear rack, unfortunately, doesn't have spots to attach the taillight. If I had to do it all over again, I would have chosen a slightly different design for the rear rack. I went for something ultra minimalist that ended up being a little less functional. I didn't know at the time. It has a couple of other features, such as an alarm. I think that could be useful if you live in a city and leave your bike unattended. Left and right turn signals, which I think is very useful. There's also auto brake lights that work really well. As soon as it detects slowing down, surprisingly better than my expensive bike helmet. Those are bonus features to me because they always work with a speedometer, can only guesstimate and do as best as they can. There is something that I really do like on this, and it is the laser function, which could just help create distance between you and cars. How well it works, hard to say. It's not the same as a physical flag, but it is very clean and integrated. Add a bit of visual cue for creating that space between you and cars, which is always good if you're sharing the road. I have these very thin and slim reflectors to add a bit of visibility at night. I have my lights, which I think work way better. Lo-fi, and depending on the city you live, legality reasons for having these reflectors. I attach that bike light here. Whenever I go somewhere, I basically detach the bike lights and then bring it with me in my bag. On my rear rack, I have my lock. I have my Oops Smart U-lock holder. I also have these rock strap attachments that I talked about earlier. I tend to not leave them on my rear rack, remove them each time and put them in my bag. I don't use them every single time I go for a bike ride. When I do need them, they're there. I have them in my bag. I put them away so it's clean. It doesn't end up getting in the way when I'm biking. I'm very happy I made a purchase for. Now, when it comes to security, this is one of their more higher security for the Kryptonite lock. Plenty enough for the city, plenty enough for my needs. I don't leave my bike unattended for that long. They do have heavier duty ones. On top of it, on my bike, I have these things called hex locks, which work with a special magnetized key that you have that is unique to you. So it makes it really hard to steal these components because you can't just stick an Allen key and then detach it. A little piece that blocks the Allen key, which can only be removed with the key I have. And actually, this has been a problem because when I've left my bike to get fixed somewhere, I forgot to remove that piece and pop back in an hour later and they went, oh, well, we actually couldn't work on your bike. I have put it on a couple of spots on my bike. I don't think it's necessarily like foolproof. It's added difficulty for any bike theft because it's just one more thing. They might not want to deal with your bike and move on to something else. Show you the other side of my rear rack, which I have this Linus saddle sack bag that I leave attached onto here. And I leave it attached because I park my bike inside. It's not left outside on the street at night where it's more vulnerable to theft. When it comes to bike safety, it's really about making your bike as difficult to steal or more difficult to steal than the bike next to you. Unfortunately, that's just the reality of things. I leave it on here and I have the tiniest flimsy lock that came with it and no one has ever stolen it. I leave my bike unattended at a maximum for an hour, but it's usually shorter than that when I'm in and out running errands, getting groceries. I like having this permanently mounted because I don't need to think about carrying an extra bag and I usually have a backpack. But whenever I do have extra stuff to carry, I just throw it right in here and it's perfect. And then I end up leaving a lot of extra things in here. If it's parked in my garage, I'll leave my lights in here and then take them out as I'm biking at night. I never feel off balance with it. Generally when I'm going out, I have my backpack. And then if I need extra storage, I have my rear rack here with the rock straps. And then I have this saddle bag and it is perfectly enough for what I need. Also looks really stylish. It works with my bike look overall. If you're also curious about the history of this bike or like how I came to acquire it, I also have a video about that. I will link in the description. That's everything that I have on my bike. If you have any other recommendations and other gear that you must have or gear that you discovered on this bike tour video, please do drop a comment. I love reading all of those and they were very helpful as well. If you want to check out my favorite bike helmet, you can check that out right here. If not this video right here, may be of interest to you. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.